Have you ever wished someone could simply walk you through an ordinary day and explain why symptoms seem to appear when they do? Not with complicated science and not riddled with metaphors and analogies, just by following one person through an ordinary Tuesday. So today, I'd like to do exactly that. I'll tell it in first person because I want you to experience the day rather than analyze it. So, the alarm goes off just after 7. I open my eyes. Actually, I feel all right, not bursting with energy, just not too exhausted, just normalish for me at the moment. I get up, make a coffee, look out the kitchen window while the dog wanders about the garden. It's quiet, and for a few moments, everything feels settled. Then my phone buzzes. It's my cousin. Just checking you're still coming to see Aunt Margaret this afternoon. I stop for a moment. There's no obvious emotion, no dramatic reaction. But if I'm honest, something inside me just became a little heavier. Aunt Margaret has never been intentionally unkind, but she has a way of making every conversation feel like I'm being assessed. You know, why aren't you working more? Have you thought about trying this? You look tired. Thanks a bunch. Are you sure you're doing the right thing? Every visit leaves me feeling slightly diminished. And if I were really listening to myself, I'd probably ask whether I genuinely want to go today. Instead, I smile to myself and say to my cousin, "Yes, of course, I'll be there." I put the phone down and carry on making breakfast. Nothing dramatic happens. No symptoms, no collapse. Life just simply continues. An hour later, I'm trying to answer a few emails. I notice I've read the same sentence 3 times. I can't quite focus. My shoulders feel tighter than they did earlier. And there's a faint heaviness behind my eyes. It's subtle enough that I could easily blame poor sleep or even the weather. So I do what most of us do, and I try to ignore it. A little later, a friend sends me a message. "Fancy lunch today?" Immediately, my mind lights up. That would be lovely. I smile and I reply straight away, "Absolutely." Now, something interesting happens. Although I'm looking forward to my lunch with my friend, my body doesn't suddenly become full of energy. The morning still feels flat. The heaviness is still there. And Mickel therapy has taught me that this is because the body isn't responding to the thought of enjoying lunch. It responds when the life is actually being lived. So I carry on with my work. Eventually, lunchtime arrives, and we meet at this little cafe. And within minutes, we're laughing, talking, sharing ideas and stories. I realise how much I've missed conversations that leave me feeling lighter instead of smaller and heavier. Without even thinking about it, my breathing changes, my shoulders soften, and food tastes better. Time disappears. For that hour, I'm simply present. And somewhere in the background, the body quietly seems to recognize something. Like it's, yes, This is what I've been asking for. Driving home, I notice something changing. The heaviness begins to return. My legs feel heavier against the pedals. My thoughts lose a little of their sharpness. The old version of me would probably have thought, I've overdone it again today. But that explanation doesn't really fit. Lunch hadn't drained me. If anything, while I was there, I felt more alive and energized than I had all morning. So I become curious instead. What is my body responding to right now? As I drive, I notice my attention drifting to the afternoon ahead. In less than half an hour, I'll be sitting in Aunt Margaret's living room. Almost without realizing it, I'm already rehearsing the conversation, thinking about the familiar, very unhelpful comments, planning how I'll keep things pleasant, how I'll avoid rocking the boat. Nothing dramatic, just the quiet effort of preparing to become someone slightly different from who I really am, the masked me. And that's when I notice it. It isn't the thought about my aunt that's creating the heaviness. It's that right now, my life is already moving in a direction my body doesn't genuinely want. The body isn't responding to memory. It isn't predicting the future. It's responding to the reality I'm creating in this moment. I'm already saying yes to something that doesn't feel right. The symptoms aren't random. They're simply my body's way of asking, yeah, are we really going to do this again? That on top of the dreadful traffic and people, well, driving like they own the road and they're the only people on it. You know what I mean. I arrive at her house. She opens the door warmly enough. And then within a few minutes, the familiar comments begin. You're always so busy. You really should slow down. Have you considered? And outwardly, all the time, I smile. Inwardly, I can feel something tightening. Part of me wants to say a lot of things, but something like, actually, I'd rather we didn't talk about that. But I don't. I change the subject. I keep everyone comfortable, except myself. After all, it's only an hour. Driving home, the fatigue is unmistakable now. My neck aches, my head hurts, my thoughts are slow. Even choosing what to make for dinner feels strangely difficult. If you'd asked me years ago why I felt like this, I'd probably have blamed the journey, or the lunch, or basically overdoing things. Today, I ask a different question of myself. What has my body been trying to tell me all day? The answer comes almost immediately, not because I'm analysing, because I already know. It began with that tiny moment in the kitchen this morning when something inside quietly said, I don't really want to do this. I heard it, but I carried on anyway. Then I heard it again and carried on anyway, and again, until eventually my body had to speak more loudly. Not to punish me, not because it was broken, but because the quieter signals that had been sending me, I hadn't answered them. That evening, my daughter phones. Dad, would you mind helping me move a few things on Saturday? Without thinking, I almost say yes. Then I pause. Not because I don't want to help, but because I honestly don't know yet. So I say, I'd love to help if I can. Let me check a couple of things and I'll let you know tomorrow. There's a tiny silence on the line. Of course, she says. But that's it. No disappointment, no argument, no drama. Just enough space for me to discover what's genuinely right for me. And as I put the phone down, something inside settles. By bedtime, I'm not symptom free. This isn't a fairy tale I'm telling you. But something's changed. The day, and it no longer feels random. The symptoms no longer feel random. I can trace them back through my day like footprints. The moments I ignored myself. The moments I listened. The moments life genuinely fulfilled me. The moments I quietly abandoned myself. And for me, that's one of the biggest shifts Mickel therapy offers. Not the promise of a perfect life, but the opportunity to understand the conversation your body has been trying to have with you all along. And once that conversation begins to make sense, everything starts to look different. Now, before you go, if this way of understanding symptoms resonates with you, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. Every week I share new videos to help you understand what your body may really be trying to tell you and how to build a healthier relationship with it. If you'd like to go a little deeper, why not join our YouTube membership? We have a monthly Ask Dr. Mickel live sessions planned where you can ask your own questions, hear discussions with other members, and explore these ideas in much greater depth. You'll find the join link and all the details in the description below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like. Consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear this perspective. It really does help the channel reach more people who are still searching for answers. But thanks very much for watching. Until next time, keep listening to your body. Keep responding to what truly brings you alive. And I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.